Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's Lunch and Learn. I'm Lauren Smith with the International Franchise Association, and we have a great 30 minutes lined up for you. Before we begin, I would like to remind everyone that we are recording today's webinar and will make it available later this evening on community.franchise.org. If you have any questions for today's speaker, please add them to the chat box and they will be addressed toward the end. Today's topic is gaining a competitive edge with a 401k, what franchise owners need to know, and it is brought to us by Human Interest. Here to provide today's discussion is Rakesh Mahajan, Chief Revenue Officer at Human Interest. Thank you all for joining us today, and thank you to Human Interest for sponsoring today's Lunch and Learn. I'll go ahead and turn things over to you, Rakesh.
Thanks very much, Lauren. Thanks everybody for joining. Really excited to be here. Appreciate the International Franchise Association for allowing us to host and kind of talk to you a little bit about the trends that we're seeing in the industry and what 401ks and retirement more generally can mean for your employees. So what I'm going to talk about on the next slide is what we're seeing in terms of the competitive landscape that you're facing. What tech companies are coming in to do to actually make your lives more difficult at times. Talk about the big challenges that we see for you guys in terms of the thousands of franchises that we're working with. And also highlight a few laws that are coming in that are going to impact your world. And then a few thoughts on how we can help and take some questions. So with that, let's dive in. Obviously today, we're seeing a very competitive landscape, particularly for talent. Unemployment is extremely low and actually getting lower. The Great Resignation, which has been talked about ad nauseum, still continues to be an issue. The talent shortage actually is resulting in franchises that we work with continuing to invest in hiring, in benefits in particular. And they cite a low employee morale and decreased productivity because they keep having to hire and fire people. People keep leaving, excuse me. And when they leave, you're going to have to replace them. It takes 3 to 6 months to have an employee ramp and get productive. And ultimately, that results in poorer customer service. So the longer we can keep employees with you, the better everybody's going to be. So to do that, on the next slide, we have a challenge. As we, on one hand, just a regular running the day job of making your business successful, you then have tech companies that are coming in and making it even harder. You've got the Amazons, the DoorDashes, the Ubers that are now bringing even better benefits to their workers, which are actually probably your workers that are suddenly saying, I can make more money or be better looked after by one of these other tech companies. Whether it's, sorry, if you can go back. One of the things that was actually quite interesting is the bit on the right, where Amazon has cited adding a 401k for its delivery service partners. Now, they're not franchises, but you suddenly have drivers that drive for Amazon who are now getting 401ks. And it's because, presumably, Amazon sees that their drivers are better off and that they will be able to attract more talent by offering 401ks. So benefits are a real thing that actually will move people to leave one company to go to another. It's not just not just compensation, it's the entire benefits package. Next slide. So as we see it, attracting talent continues to be a challenge. A huge turnover of employees in the last 12 months. And obviously you still have a challenge of running your day job. You've got HR, finance, operations, and all the other things that just come with it. The last thing you want to do is add in having to continue to hire and talent because you're not offering them the right benefits. So how are we going to deal with that? Oh, well, then there's the added complication of the states, of all the states, nearly all the states requiring that you offer more benefits. And we've seen that in particular in California, in Illinois, in New York, all over the country pretty much, where retirement benefits are now a requirement or will be a requirement fairly soon. For your specific states and information on your states, we've added a link in here. So when these slides get shared, you'll be able to see all the different legislation that impacts all the different states. If we talk just very specifically about California, they've introduced penalties. So not only are they requiring you to do it, they're actually saying if you don't do it, we're going to charge you $37,000. These are meaningful. So, and other states are following suit. Illinois is following suit, New York, Jersey, all of them are following suit, Delaware, Maryland, etc. Next slide. So what are the three challenges that we think about, or three opportunities that we think about for a 401k? We do see that it boosts employee retention and morale. There is a competitive edge because your employees are looking for this. Of course, they want to know if you're offering medical and dental, but the next thing they ask about is, do you offer something to help me with retirement? And then you kind of have to do it anyway. So these are things that are coming, and it's going to be not only something that you have to do anyway, you may as well do it and do it in the right way. So what does that look like? Human interest. Let me describe what we do. We are the highest rated 401k in the country. And we focus on small and medium businesses just like you. We have over 1,000 franchises that we work with right now. We understand this space. We are the leader in our category. And maybe I should talk a little bit about who human interest is. Next slide. We have over 7,000 customers. Actually, it's almost 10,000 now, growing at quite a pace. We have over 700 employees. We're technically based in San Francisco, but like many, we are very dispersed around the country. We serve pretty much every industry that's out there. We have hundreds of thousands of employees, or participants as we call them, that are working on our platform. We've been around for about 6 or 7 years, and we're growing super quickly because we've started realizing how important this is, this benefit is to hourly workers. Next slide. The thing that you need to think about when you look at 401ks in general are 4 things. You need to think about the work that you're going to have to do, what we call the admin experience. How much work are you going to have to do? With human interest, we do almost everything for you, and you'll see that on the next slide in a minute. The second thing you need to think about is, well, what are your employees going to feel? What is that experience for them? We get an over 75 or 80% participation rate because we make it super easy for them to sign up and take advantage of this benefit. We offer enrollment webinars. We offer lots of tools for them to understand what it means to retire. The third thing you need to think about is how complete that solution is. Many people offer 401ks, and they're cobbled together with outsourced parts here, there, and everywhere, which means that when you have a question, who do you go to? Do you go to this thing called a TPA or this thing called a record keeper, or who do you call? At Human Interest, we're a SaaS company, we're a software company. We've built everything in-house so that there's one person that you call. You call your dedicated account manager, because you don't have the time to go chase around and be on hold for hours on end. So how complete that solution is something that you should absolutely think about. And the fourth and final piece is cost and value. And what I mean by that is we put our pricing on the website. We don't play games. There's no negotiation. There's no haggling. We actually got rid of all transaction fees. We aren't going to nickel and dime you. So if you want to change your plan, it's free. If your employee wants to take out a loan, it's free. We just keep it really simple. We come from an ethos of transparency. We use technology to solve all of the manual stuff that other people do or outsource. So think about those 4 things. Whether you choose human interest or not, retirement plan is something that you're going to have to do. Those 4 things are quite important because they really will impact what you see as either a benefit or a challenge, or what your employees see. Because you ultimately want to do something that actually helps them, because they're kind of like family. You got to look after them. We integrate with over 200 payrolls. That payroll integration is really important because otherwise you're manually moving stuff around, information around between your payroll and your 401k company. With human interest, you don't have to. Next slide. Next slide, Angie. Thank you. So for us, we will do the heavy lifting. We'll deal with compliance for you. We'll take care of the records and the data and the information. We'll sync with payroll. We'll deal with the paperwork. In fact, many of you know that you have a Form 5500 that you have to fill out about the benefits that you offer to your employees. When it comes to 401k, you have to do the same thing. The difference with human interest is 97% of our customers ask us to do it, and we take care of it for you. We will complete it and we will sign it, therefore taking much of the liability away from offering a 401k. In fact, let me describe what that looks like in terms of what we do for you on the next slide. We offer what's called a 316. The number's sort of irrelevant. It's an IRS tax code. But this lists all the things that we do that you don't have to do. There's only two things that you have to do. You have to choose human interest, and you do have to approve loans because we don't know if you'll allow one of your participants or one of your employees to take a loan because we don't know if they're going to leave or what have you. Those are probably the only two things that we ask you to do. And there's more detail, et cetera, on the links and blah, blah, blah. But we take care of almost everything for you. And that's what you want whenever you choose a retirement plan. Next slide. We've already become the chosen provider for some of these franchisors, for 4 already, and more to come. Because we're geared towards small and medium businesses. We use technology to solve all these problems. At this point, 60 unique brands, but more to come. And here's why. Here's a specific example of, Planet Fitness, a franchisee of Planet Fitness, what Peter said. He didn't do it because the law told him to. He did it because he wanted to actually look after his employees. Because his feeling is that by having happy employees, you'll have happy customers. Next slide. So what should we take away from this? The first thing is competition's coming at you, not just from the next competing shop around, around the corner, but actually from tech companies that are trying to go after your employees, entice them with benefits that are probably better than what you're offering right now. So therefore, attract talent by avoiding the costs of turnover. Use 401ks to enable you to be better in terms of what you offer your employees. Obviously, we think we can help. We are helping thousands of franchisees right now. We offer an affordable, very modern solution so that you can get back to your day job. And with that, I think that's all I've got. I'll take questions if there have any.
Great, thank you so much. It does look like a few questions have come in. Do you have special pricing for franchise owners?
Actually, yes, we do. When you have a conversation with us, we do waive our implementation fee for franchise owners. So we start with that. We do quite often offer our top level service at a better price for you. And that's something that we're happy to engage with and have a conversation with.
Awesome. Next question. What are the differences between the needs of larger companies versus smaller and medium-sized businesses when it comes to 401ks?
They're not vastly different, to be honest. There's a couple of very unique sort of technical things. The biggest one is if you're over 100 employees, you have to do a little bit more testing. And that's something that is standard from us. We prepare a package that enables your CPA or your accountant more generally to validate that the 401k was being run properly. So we provide all that information. That's if you're over 100 employees. That's standard. It's very common. Other than that, there's some larger companies want people to show up in their offices, and they want to therefore have a financial advisor, which we're very happy to work with financial advisors. But otherwise, there's nothing terribly unique. Our largest customer right now is about 5,000 employees. We have a group of 300, I'm not allowed to use the name, but 300 burger restaurants, burger QSRs. That is one of our larger customers as well. There's nothing terribly unique other than that.
Next question. Do you recommend all safe harbor plans for all sizes of companies?
We do. We believe that minimizing work. So for those of you that don't know, safe harbor plans are plans where you don't have to go through extended testing by the government to make sure that the plan was compliant, et cetera. And what the government's trying to do is make sure that you're not setting something up that favors you at the expense of your employees, if I boil it down to very simple English. We do recommend safe harbor plans because it helps you avoid that. It's the way you design your plan so that your employees benefit as much as your more highly compensated employees benefit. But we do offer the flexibility, I would add, that if you don't want to have a safe harbor plan, you don't have to.
Great. Well, it looks like those were all the questions for today. Thank you so much, Rakesh. This was excellent content and excellent feedback from all of you. We really do appreciate it. Again, this webinar was recorded, and along with the presentation deck will appear on our website early this evening. You'll be able to find that at community.franchise.org. Thank you very much again to Rakesh and the Human Interest team. And again, thank you to everyone for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day and stay safe and healthy. Bye.
Thanks all.